How's it going? So let me talk about mix buses for a second. I just in the last video explained you should be mixing into it, start right away, put it on immediately, but what should it be? Well, I got analog stuff going on. We'll get into in another video. Inside the computer though, after my analog chain, I do have stuff on a mix bus. Let's talk about that. That is where I started originally with my first mix bus. Before I had any analog gear, I basically sent stuff in from every channel to a mix bus, and that was the channel I printed. And that one is what I'm going to give you right now. So let's just talk about a basic starting point. The odd thing, funny thing, or whatever you want to call it, I basically been switching things on and off the mix bus forever. Hundreds of different things I've tried. And I went back to a very similar way that I started with ultimately because it's a great way to live. That's why people have been doing it. That's why I started doing it. And I'm giving you the shortcut to that. So let's just check it out really quick. All right, so this right here is just a random session. This is the mix bus. Now this final channel, don't worry about that. This is just my loudness meter and the way to get you into OBS. So that just is monitoring stuff for me, but everything prior to that is my mix bus. It's this channel right here. We got a massive passive. Manly massive passive is the first thing. This is an EQ that adds a little bit of flavor, texture, and you have options. That's why I like it. Now after that, I've got a bus compressor that stays bypassed for the most part because I have a lot of compression on my, analog chain that I'm using, compression and limiting. So in the computer, I got very little of that going on at all. This is off, bypass most of the time, but if I need a little extra juice, I got the SSL bus compressor. After that, I've got a Pro Q3 that stays bypassed most of the time, but if I need to throw it in and take out a little 150 or something, I do. I may have a need for this. This thing stays on. So you'll notice what's on, the massive passive is on, and this is on, the Pultec. The Pultec stays on. And I have another Pultec here that's inactive at the moment, but this is the Waves Pultec. So the Waves Pultec is just a different sounding Pultec, but I love the Pultec, as you can see. So the Pultec has a very unique function. It can boost and cut simultaneously, so it gives you a thing where you can boost low end but also not make it too weighty. So, she could be thick, but she ain't that thick, so it's good. Anyway, we've got 3, 4, 5, 8K is usually what that you'll stay between. Sometimes you'll go to 10 on this high frequency, and you're also going to boost and attenuate a little bit. I'm attenuating very little there for this particular track, but I also have some boost in the analog domain around 8K, so I don't usually boost this in the 8K zone. I keep this in the 3 or 4 zone usually. It's 3K, 4K. And this is up here is how much you're boosting, and this is how much you're attenuating, and this is what frequency you're attenuating, and this over here is also what frequency you're boosting. So it's like what frequency you're boosting, what frequency you're boosting, how you're attenuating at 5, 10, or 20K, and then this is how much of this same frequency are you attenuating. So it's pretty cool. And the bandwidth, I'm keeping wide. So then we got a limiter that's just barely working, negative 0.101. It's barely doing anything, just clipping the top off. I've got hardly any gain, like input gain is 0, 0. See what I'm saying? The threshold is 0.1. We're talking, nothing's really happening on it. We're just making sure we're not peaking too hard. Then I got a plug-in bypass here, rather inactive. I'll talk about it in a second. But the L2 is my other option for a limiter. If I don't want to use this, I have my L2. It's bypassed at the moment, but it lives there just in case. This X noise plugin usually is inactive. I will a lot of times automate it at the front and back of songs to turn on or off, just so I don't have any, hiss or buzz or anything going on like a part that may be quiet and being pulled up by a compressor or something, and I don't want to hear any hiss or fuzz. I'll use this stuff to clean it up, and then I'll automate it on and off. So that's a cool little tip. What else? This plugin, this Abbey Road Vinyl. I could do a whole video on this just because it's so cool. It's just a vibey, very cool plugin that gives you vibes sometimes when you need it. And it has some other cool effects built in within it. So that's what I got on my chain. Then I told you everything that here is just metering and loudness stuff and OBS. So that's what's up. I hope you enjoyed this video. We got more coming at you, so stick around. I also give lessons, by the way. If you have a need for private mixing lessons, give me a buzz or, email DM. I'll hit you back.